Hello, my name is Ed. This video is going to be kind of a sort of a reply, sort of a response to Ziploc Gory. Zip is a YouTuber. He's got a couple channels, and one of his channels, the Ziploc Archives, he does a pretty regular feature called Female Character of the Week, and basically he takes a female character from either like anime or movies or comics or video games or what have you, and does a profile and talks about why he likes that particular character. And I actually had an idea for a response for actually for a while back, but I kept putting it off and putting it off, and then I kind of forgot about it. So now I'm trying to get back into it. Obviously, of course, I'm doing Storm here, but I want to try to concentrate on a certain era of Storm. I want to talk about 80s era of Storm, and part of that's just out of nostalgia. You know, I kind of remember, most of these comics when they were coming out. And also though, because I think over that particular time frame, you saw a lot of interesting changes and developments with that particular character. So just to kind of jump into it, I'm sure most people know, if you're watching this video, who Storm is. Storm is a member of the X-Men. She has mutant superpowers. She was born in Kenya, and her superpowers are basically she's able to control the weather. When they first started using Storm, the way she was depicted, well, in battle, she was always really powerful, generating, whirlwinds and hurricanes and thunderstorms and lightning and stuff like that. But in downtime, when she was interacting with her other teammates, she was always portrayed as this very beautiful, very serene, almost regal woman. She was always the compassionate person. She was always the voice of reason. She had kind of like almost like a big sister relationship with characters like Nightcrawler and Colossus. And when they introduced the Kitty Pryde character, she had a kind of a surrogate mother-daughter relationship with her, and they really played that up for a while. Basically, that's who Storm was for a while. Then at one point, they had Scott Summers' Cyclops character, pretty much, for all intent and purposes, he was pretty much semi-retired from the team. He was gone for a while, and Storm was made the leader of the X-Men. And what's interesting is the way they kind of show the sort of responsibility and how all the responsibility and the burden of being a leader and being responsible for everyone and having to make decisions started to take kind of an emotional toll on Storm. Now, Storm was a good leader. She was portrayed as being every bit as good as a leader as Cyclops was, but now she found herself becoming a little bit more aggressive. She's not just the person that is there to give support to the other people, but she's also somebody who's got to lay down a law every once in a while. She was also the person who made tough decisions in battle and whatnot. And like I said, it was played this sort of way where it wasn't what do I want to say? It took a toll, Not that she couldn't do it; she could, and she was very good at it. But it was taking an emotional toll because now she was found herself in a situation where she had to do things that she didn't have to do before. And this kind of went on for a little bit. And during one particular storyline, Storm met one of Wolverine's old ex-girlfriends or whatever, and she was basically told by this person something like, yeah, you're all miserable because for all this time you've been kind of shutting off your emotions, but life is short. You don't shut off the spontaneous side of you or the angry side. Embrace that. Embrace your passion, Life's short and you gotta live it, And Storm thought about this for a minute and was like, well, you know what? Maybe you're right, So then the next time the X-Men see Storm, she shows up and she's got the, she's cut her hair and she's got that kind of punk rock biker look that, so many of us think of when we think of 80s Storm. And some of the X-Men were a little bit kind of shocked with it at first, but then they got used to it pretty soon. On the other hand, Kitty Pryde, who, like I said, always looked up to Storm as this mother figure, was really shocked and disappointed and felt let down, and, started distancing herself from Storm a bit. Eventually, they did a story where they actually had to have a kind of heart to heart. They had to kind of have it out, where Kitty is like, hey, you know what? My personal life is going through all these changes. My parents are getting a divorce. I've got all these pressures from being this, that, and the other thing. You were always the person I could always count on, and now you've changed on me. And Ororo had to be like, well, listen, I got to be me, I'm the leader. I got to do tough stuff. I'm going through my thing. I can't be your mother, but I'll always still be your best friend. And they kind of ironed it out. And not very long after that, they had Storm go through a change where she lost her superpowers. And she went into a funk for it for a while, but got over it, came back, reassumed leadership of the team. And was just as effective. But now, instead of, relying on just her powers or whatever, now it's a little bit more about her relying on just her confidence, her skill, her, strategy, fighting techniques, learning, using things that maybe she had learned growing up in the streets of Cairo and things like that. And like I said, she was portrayed as being every bit as effective with no superpowers, as she was before when she had superpowers. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And what you got, and eventually Storm did, later down the road get her powers back. But what's interesting about all this wasn't done in like just one issue or, just one story arc. You kind of saw her grow and change and develop and go through this and go through that over a period of time. So it all felt kind of organic and natural. It wasn't a jarring shock that that you see with sometimes with some characters where they're written out of character. This is something you got to see and witness as it was happening, step by step by step, inch by inch. And I thought that was a real interesting, I guess, characterization of the character, to kind of sidestep it a little bit. People who are Wonder Woman fans, always talk about how, important it is to always show Diana as on one hand being the warrior, but also being the peacemaker, as being the person who's strong, but also who's able to show compassion. And I think even though these are completely different characters, different personalities, different power sets, they work in their stories a little bit differently. I think you had that sort of balance with 80s Storm, like I said, on one hand, she was able to be hard-edged, she was able to take it to the bad guys, she was able to make snap decisions and whatnot, but she was still there to offer support and compassion for, her teammates and, just, other people in general. So, okay, I guess that's it. Thanks a lot for listening. I'm going to try to put the link to, some Zip's videos, and you can check those out as well. All right, thanks, and you have a good one.